Hey everyone, I'm so excited to have you here today for the very first episode of Cooking with Cocktails. So we are going to be meeting here every now and then to learn how to make some fun dish and drinking, because that's what I like to do. So not all the time, don't get me wrong, but everybody can enjoy a good cocktail every now and then. So today's recipe is going to be Cowboy Twice Baked Potatoes. With the launch of Country Heat coming out on Beachbody in just a little over a week, I am thrilled. I was recently certified to teach Country Heat live, and it was so much fun. I was dripping in sweat. I did the sneak peek of Country Heat earlier, and man, it is such an awesome and fun workout. So with that said, I am today going to be doing these Cowboy Twice Baked Potatoes, and I will give you the portion control containers that are involved with each serving as well, just so you can kind of track that if you are following that. So let's get cooking with a little Cowboy Twice Baked Potato. Cheers! All right guys, so the first thing we're gonna do, because it takes the longest, is to get the potatoes in the oven because they need to bake for about an hour. I'm lucky, I have a double oven, so I'll be able to do two things at once here. If you don't, then you may wanna consider giving yourself a little bit more time, or even potentially using the microwave to bake your potatoes, but they are a lot better in the oven, okay? So I've already washed these and scrubbed them, so I still always stab them even though I'm not doing them in the microwave, because I just don't want anything to explode, and my luck, it would explode through the entire oven, and then I would actually have to use that whole self-cleaning thing, which you'd think would be cool, but no, I don't really like a mess, so I'm just gonna stab them anyways and pop them in the oven here. Okay, so while those are in, I am going to get everything else ready, because at least that way I know everything is ready to go as soon as these potatoes are done. They will need to cool a little bit before we start the rest of the process, but let's just try to make it easy on us, right? So first things first. Okay, so the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to cook the bacon. I like to cook it in the oven. I'm doing turkey bacon because that's what Autumn would do. So I am going to put the bacon on. So with my cookie sheets, even though they're still pretty easy to clean, I always foil them and use a nonstick spray just to make cleanup super easy for me. But I am just putting it on here. Again, then I'm going to toss this right in the oven. Normally about 15 minutes is all it takes. So I have the oven set at, what did I set it at 400. So it should get nice and crispy for us. And I should be able to add that in there. I'm just gonna make room for like one more piece because this will shrivel up. Okay. Okay, and then that's why I have the apron on, right? I'm gonna pop these in, speaking of. So I actually, since I'm making this recipe up, I wasn't really sure what kind of cheese I wanted to go with. So I was like, what would be good? And immediately I thought smoked Gouda. Well, I went to the store and they just didn't have any. So today I am using a Chipotle cheddar. I thought it sounded really good. I think that kind of fits in with that that southern feel of the twice baked potato, the Cowboy Twice Baked Potato. So just so I don't break the cheese in half, I'm gonna do a smaller chunk of it, but I am gonna grate a decent amount of this because this is actually gonna go into, I'm gonna blend it in with the potatoes, but then sprinkle a little bit on top. All right, so then what I have in here is a homemade ranch mixture there, and I'll post the recipe for this as well because I've already kind of pre-made it. But it has onion powder, garlic powder, sea salt, pepper, dill, and parsley. So there's 6 spices in here. And I'm actually gonna use this in with the potatoes as I am blending them up. All right, so now most of our prep is actually done. It's really not a lot of work. It's really just waiting for the potatoes to finish cooking. So while that's cooking, I'm gonna drink my wine and hang out for a little bit. And I suggest you do the same thing. All right, guys, so I have my potatoes out. I've cut them into half so they have cooled a little bit so that they're easier to handle. I burnt the crap out of my fingers, so don't do that. I've refilled my wine because, you know, we need a little bit more of that. And I've kind of measured out everything else that we need. With the exception of the cheese, I am gonna measure that out using my blue container as we go so that I know how much is actually going in, right? So I have 1 cup of my Faye yogurt. It's my favorite Greek yogurt ever, so I'm gonna use this instead of butter and milk for the potatoes, which, you know, normally like a mashed potato, you'd use milk and butter and all that kind of good stuff, but I'm gonna use this instead. I have a ranch seasoning mix that I'm gonna be using for this. I will post the recipe for you, but this is actually, it has onion powder, garlic powder, dill, parsley, sea salt, and pepper. So there's 6 items in it. So I will post the recipe for that mixture, but I've already measured it out and put it in this container just so it's easy to add. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and add in the Greek yogurt. I try to use the least amount of utensils possible, so that's why I'm putting the Greek yogurt in before the potatoes, because I will use the same spoon to scoop my potatoes because I am lazy and I do not want to do multiple dishes, right? Who wants to do that? So then, so I have that in there, and I'm just gonna take, and you just kind of scoop out the center of the potatoes a little bit, toss it in. Still really hot. Ow. Try not to break the skin like I just did there on that one. If you kind of do like the perimeter, you can scoop a little bit easier. All right, now that we're done with the potatoes, we're gonna go ahead and add in the ranch seasoning. Just gonna dump it in there. All right, and then let's go ahead and scoop out, time out. All right, so then we're gonna go ahead and measure out. Okay, so what you wanna do is, I have 4 potatoes, total potatoes here. Half potato is typically a 1 yellow container, right? So I'm gonna shoot for there to be half of a blue in each potato because I don't want there to be too much, right? So I'm only gonna be using 2 of these in here, and then I'll just do a light sprinkle over top, and I'm not even filling these, whoopsie, the whole way to the top. I'm just kind of like lightly pushing them in there, so there's still a little bit of room. So I did leave a little bit of room for just the extra sprinkle on the top at the end. Let's make sure we get all of it out there though, because the cheese is the best part. All right, so let's pop this down and get the mixing in. Now, it depends on how you like your potatoes. I personally like them a little bit chunky. I think that they're really good that way. So I'm just gonna blend. All right, so let me get this out of here because it all just went right in the middle of my mixing thing. whatever this thing's called. I don't even know. Don't mistake this as somebody who's actually a real chef. I like to cook, I enjoy it, and I like to drink wine. And that, my friends, is why I am doing this. I also think it's important to know how to eat healthy and to make it taste good. So I'm just gonna pop this in for a couple more times. Okay, poke it out. That way we are mixed and blended pretty well. In my way. And then reusing, I am going to scoop. Basically, you know, there's enough in here. I'm just gonna scoop a little bit at a time until each potato is full. Kind of pack it down in there a little tiny bit. Okay, and yeah, when I was doing that, I made a couple of them fell straight apart, so don't think that, again, I actually know what I'm doing here. Now, let's do a tiny little sprinkle of cheese on each one. All right, so I've got some bacon, and I am going to totally overload the top of these with some bacon because I'm gonna put a whole strip on each. There. So you see what we've got here. You've got the loaded baked potatoes. All right, guys, so it's 20 minutes later. I've got the Cowboy Twice Baked Potatoes out of the oven. They look fantastic. I just don't want to burn the crap out of my fingers because I literally just took them out, but I want to show you what they look like so you can see there. All right, so the rest of our meal tonight will consist of one of these, some filet on the grill, and some grilled zucchini and squash because I'm easy when it comes to making my meals. I go protein, starch, veg pretty much every night, unless it's like spaghetti or something along those lines, you know? So as far as containers go for this, you're gonna have half of a blue, one whole yellow, and half of a red. And that's it. So I hope that you enjoy it, and I can't wait to hear your feedback, and I really hope that you guys will join me again next time. So signing off for the first episode of Cooking with Cocktails, it's Nicole again. Cheers.